This is Strange Darkness Radio with your host, Bobby Walsh.
Welcome to another episode of Strange Darkness Radio. Today we have a very special guest joining us. Her name is Silverayne, and she is a multi-talented practitioner of the healing arts. And as an energy psychologist, Reiki Master, practicing witch, crystal healer, and an author, Silverayne has helped countless individuals tap into their own inner power and achieve their highest potential. Through her knowledge of energy work and psychology, Silverayne combines traditional therapy techniques with the metaphysical, providing a unique and holistic approach to healing. Her practice includes using crystals and Reiki to help balance and restore the body's natural energy flow, as well as tapping into her intuition and psychic ability to guide clients through their journey of self-discovery. So get ready to expand your mind and get enlightened as we delve into the world of energy psychology, witchcraft, Reiki, crystal healing, and more with the one and only Silverayne. Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, Silverayne.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh gosh. I am a recent grad from University of Phoenix. I hold a master's in psychology. I've traveled all over the world, but I call Oregon home.
Now, again, you wear many hats. As I said in the intro, can you kind of give people a brief, deeper look into those particular hats that you wear? Since, I mean, there's so many, and and again, I'm pretty sure this has happened over decades of experience, with you being able to delve into all these particular things that you do.
Yeah, so I have been practicing witchcraft for 20 years, and then I just wanted to do more with that. So for 2 years, I've been a Reiki Master, which I do a lot of distance Reiki sessions with people. So being a Reiki Master, you are the conduit of universal energy. We use that to direct to people's chakras, and that's basically a chakra is a well in your body that is full of energy, and when that gets out of balance, you start to feel it. It manifests in the physical. Reiki Masters help realign your chakras and unblock them so the energy flows all as one.
The one thing I've not heard of is energy psychology. Is that something that's been around for a while?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
It's been around for a while. It's so it's you hold energy. Everybody has energy. Everybody has, it flowing through their body. We have our own energy field. We use techniques like, it's called energy tapping. We tap on meridian points of the body that help, calming and helps relieve anxiety. And we do a lot with post-traumatic stress.
So being a Reiki Master, I think kind of would intertwine into those particular, arts. Is that how that works?
Yes. We do exposure therapy involving imagining and retelling traumatic memories and obtaining, that in a safe environment. And I have a wellness group right now that I offer trauma recovery and healing. We do a lot of, I tell people, excuse me, and I warn people that you're going to feel some stuff.
Yeah.
Your body holds the trauma. And people have probably seen a lot of videos, especially on Instagram, of the spinal energetics. And there's certain points, we work on, and you see a lot of people rising and reacting to having the energy work done on them. And that's a very real thing, is your body remembers the trauma. And our job is to help you with that. And so, yeah, I've had a lot of people have full on meltdowns and cry because we're helping them release so much.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, can you give out your socials?
I have all my socials attached to Linktree/Silverayne with my name.
Okay, great.
Yeah, all of my services, all of my stores. I just started a healing group in honor of my cat that just passed away.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear, about your cat. But yeah, was it a he or she or?
It was a he. He was 3 years old, and yeah, he just got multiple organ failure in the matter of days.
Wow.
So I helped him, cross the Rainbow Bridge. So I am revamping my businesses. I named like my jewelry store after him, just to keep his memory alive.
Yeah, that's really beautiful and nice. So you also do healing, crystal healing. In helping Iggy transition, was it crystal healing involved in that also, or just Reiki?
I was trying with him, but I think he was too far gone.
Okay.
When we do crystal healing and we do, Reiki on people, there's a lot of people that have, issue with that and not realizing that crystals hold energy.
Yes.
You have crystals in your cell phone.
Exactly.
There's crystals in computers, but we also use that in conjunction with Western medicine. There's never been a point where we say, just do this and it will heal you. We help the healing process. We want you to go to therapy. We want you to, make sure that you're working with a doctor. If you want to see a naturopath the entire time, they go to medical school. So what really got me into crystal healing is when I had my thyroid surgery in 2016 to remove my cancerous thyroid.
Oh, wow.
It was listed in the paperwork. If you want to do alternative healing, we encourage that. And that really took me aback. I'm like, this is a hospital suggesting that you use alternative healing if you want to. They weren't opposed to it. So I have a selenite wand that I used, and they knew they saw me doing it and they didn't say anything. And so I had it on the 9th of December, and by the 14th, my sutures were coming out. So, and that's neck surgery that I was completely healed to have my sutures taken out.
So the healing process was faster than what the doctors were the timeline that they were giving you, or just your body was healing itself faster than what normally would take place.
Yeah. I didn't have to have a drain tube, which some people have to have after surgery, so I was really lucky. And it's still been a while. I still don't have any pain in that part of my neck at all.
Wow, that's incredible.
So that's you know what? This is what I want to do. Crystals work. There's a lot of people that are still skeptical, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I walk people through that, and I like skepticism. That helps you keep more of an open mind, that you're not, buying whatever you saw on the internet and believing everything that you see. So I definitely, and people are like, oh, wow. Yeah, no, I encourage you to be a skeptic.
Yeah.
That means you're going to be using critical thinking. But if the crystals and the Reiki work, what is it hurting?
No, that's very true. How do you know what crystal to use as far as an amethyst or different types?
Well, I did become a certified crystal healer. So,
okay.
And it's just a lot of learning. There's a lot of learning behind it and it's also intuitive. yes, amethyst is typically used for healing or protection, but you also work on, well, this crystal, say it's tiger's eye, resonates with me more
Mm-hmm.
than an amethyst. So we do go by intuition as well. And then I went, so it does, you do what feels natural to you. And, I did crystal healing on my cat. I have Reiki crystals that I did for her after her surgery, and she healed up pretty fast, and she was okay with it. And I've done Reiki on my cats, and you can tell, like, their ears will go back and their eyes will start to, dilate, and their skin will start to twitch. So cats are very, very sensitive to energy.
Yeah.
So they'll feel it, and it's interesting to watch that they'll actually feel something's different or happening.
Got it.
I had a friend that had a severe migraine, like wanting to be really sick, and I did some Reiki on them. It didn't take the migraine away 100%, but they said that it was more manageable after the session.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't feel so good. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like the Reiki letdown. Is there's a lot of people that you either want to cry after a Reiki session or you feel sick. Like, yeah, that's the release of your body's finally like, all right, I can let it go now.
Are they there, or is it something that is done, with intention, as far as, saying the person's name?
So the crystal healing is better one-on-one. They are my neighbor, so it was easy for me to go over to their house and get that done for them.
Yeah. Okay.
Distance Reiki, so it takes a lot to become a Reiki master. You have to, they're called attunements. So you get your first attunement and you're having to practice, 20, 30 times on people. And then your second one, you have to practice more. And your third one for your Reiki master, you have to demonstrate and you have to practice. And it took me, like, I want to say almost a year to get it done.
It's intense.
Because it was through an online course, and it's basically the honor system that you are going to be honorable and do your Reiki, distance Reiki.
Okay.
So I practiced a lot, and I've done several distance sessions, and it sucks when people say they're going to give you a review and don't. So I like to have, when I do an energy exchange, it's helpful to me that you leave a review on my page so people know that, hey, this is a person you need to go to. And word of mouth helps a lot.
Yeah.
So I have my friends that will definitely recommend me. So I kind of think they're a little bit biased, but the friends that I have are skeptics themselves. So it's not like I trust their word because, yeah, they're skeptical and it worked for them. So it should mean something.
Exactly.
I'm also a rune reader, so I do runestone readings for people.
Oh, wow.
So I use the Elder Furthok runes, and I have a lot of reviews for that
And
on my
how
page.
how does that work, the rune reading?
So it's almost like tarot cards. They tell a story, and it's all intuitive based. I have actual physical runes that I use. I meditate, and I pull the rune, and I give them their reading. And I want to say 99% of the people have been that spot on. Well, it's kind of like, I call it spicy psychology.
Okay.
Of course, if it resonates with you, then you really have to think about, oh, well, yeah, that's really going on in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
So of course it's going to resonate. I've had people that said that doesn't really resonate with me, and so we'll do another reading, and it resonates. So, and we talk about why it doesn't resonate. Like, okay, why doesn't it? I want people to be satisfied. And if it doesn't, then okay, it was a hit or miss.
Yeah, exactly. Or it was, you were picking up that person's past life that they weren't aware of. And,
Right.
and that's what you were getting from that. And they had no clue about that because they never been regressed.
I had one person, I did it, and she's like, well, that doesn't resonate. Only to find out, I mean, the name was a famous person, but she had a team of people working for her. So yeah, I thought I was reading for that person, not for the admins that run her page. And she's like, oh, now that I think about it, that resonates with so-and-so that, manages the page.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I'm like, well, it would be helpful to know that there's admins running the page and not the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's just like, the big thing that happened that started all this was a case out of Thurston County, Washington, of a horrific animal abuse case.
Oh, okay.
And I was living in Reedsford, Oregon at the time, and my then husband and I pulled into where we're staying, and I said, oh, look, it's a cute dog. And he's like, what dog? And I'm like, oh, probably ran away. I don't know, I ended up on this page on Facebook that I don't even know how I ended up on it. And they were like, we're trying to find the person, responsible. And I said, well, I can help. And a person commented, well, they don't need woo, they need actual police work.
Yeah.
So, and I get that a lot. So it's not like, oh no, my feelings are hurt. So right after that happened, I look up and the dog is in my place.
Wow.
And for me, it was instantaneous. And sometimes I feel like it's a curse every time I close my eyes, because I feel like I'm living it through their eyes. Like I'm seeing everything through their eyes. So I saw everything through her eyes, which was not pleasant at all. I called the number to the police department, or the Joint Animal Services in Thurston County, Washington, spoke to the officer. I told her everything, and she believed in me. They had a sketch artist, sketch out the person's face. And probably a week later, they arrested him. And it was the person I gave them his truck and his house, the path that he took the dog down. And no, that wasn't public information. I even said that she belonged to a little boy. And at that point, they thought she was a stray. Turns out it was the guy that was supposed to be babysitting the dog, that he took her and, unalived her.
Wow.
So
let me get this straight before we go on, just so people are clear. You were with your at that time husband. You pulled up to a location. You basically
we pulled up to where we were living at.
Okay, where you were living at.
And I saw a dog running around the RV park.
And this dog was a ghost, basically.
Yes.
And you were able to see what happened to this dog through the dog's eyes.
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, go on. I just want to make sure we got that.
Yes. So this officer will always sing my praises, especially if there's like a case for a missing person or missing animal that happens to be in the area. The news reporter that for that news station, he will even vouch for me if there's cases that I'm like, yeah, I can help you out. And they're like, well, they can contact us and we'll vouch for you.
So you're actually able to see people who've passed, on to the next life.
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about this.
I want to thank all Strange Darkness Radio listeners. We have some amazing news to share with you all. We are thrilled to announce that we have been selected as finalists for the Best UFO Podcast at the Parapod Festival. We couldn't have achieved this without your continued support and love for the show. A huge thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in and being a part of our community. We want to give a special shout out to our hosts, Bobby Washington, Tony Carr, and Frankie Franks, for their incredible work in bringing you the latest and greatest in UFO news and stories. So, keep tuning into Strange Darkness Radio for more exciting updates, and remember, if you have a story to share, we want to hear from you. Thanks again for listening, and stay curious.
Hey, this is Bobby back again, flying solo, but I have a special guest on the line, Silverayne, who is just was telling us about a circumstance involving apparition of a dog. Was it actual in physical form, or was it in a ghostly?
Yes, it was.
Oh, it's in physical form. Okay.
Yes.
So was that your first time having that type of experience, or is this something that you've always had growing up?
I've always had it growing up. The first premonition I ever had was when I was 6 years old, and it was very brief.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was standing on the ledge, and I think she was probably about, 6 feet off the ground, and she was talking to our movers, and it was really quick, like snap your fingers quick. I'm like, Mom, watch out. And I saw her fall. I and then I came back to reality, I guess. And I said, Mom, watch out. And she fell. So
you saw it before it happened even?
Yeah.
Wow.
People didn't like me in school, especially when I could call out, how long a relationship is going to last.
Yeah, that might not be a good thing.
So, and then, with the stuff that, the current political climate that's happening right now, yeah, I saw it coming. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, but it is what it is. I mean, I didn't exactly I knew COVID was going to happen. I just felt something big was going to happen and things were going to change.
So, as far as seeing apparitions and ghosts, or what do you call them?
I just call them ghosts, or they're dead people.
Are they, you believe they are dead people? Because everybody has their interpretation of what it is. Is it a demonic spirit? Is it an actual person? Why is it that some go on to whatever afterlife but some stay? That whole thing.
So to tell people, what happens in, when we're no longer on this earthly plane, I think would upset a lot of people. I think they have to look forward to this heavenly place that they're all going to go to when they die. When you die, you never really go anywhere. Being a witch, we call it, Summerland. During Halloween, which is our sacred holiday of Samhain, that is when we call and what we say the veil is thin. And it's basically, imagine that, I don't know if you've ever watched Stranger Things or people watch Stranger Things. It's kind of like the Upside Down, but not like that dark and gruesome.
Yeah.
Imagine, a mirror image of our worlds in tangent and moving along with ours, and that is where people go when they die.
Oh wow.
Doing their own thing.
So
in some cases, people ask me to
just real quick. You mean living their another form of life, in that world, or is it that they're in a place that they really don't know about? They really don't have no clue, of their, they're trying to get back to, because it seems like these ghosts and everything else are always trying to get back here.
I get what I would say is they're living their own reality. Like, heaven to them would be them carrying on in your happiest moment of your life.
Oh, I see.
And hell, we don't believe in hell. I mean, hell, if you want to get technical, hell spelled with one L is Loki's daughter. So, that would be your worst nightmare. Like, if you were not a good person, you're going to relive the worst thing ever on rinse and repeat. You're going to wake up every single day, and that's what's going to happen to you. So now would be the time to start being good people.
There you go, people out there. But before we move on, I have to get the whole thing on witchcraft, as far as, you know, your background. When did you start practicing witchcraft and all that stuff? Like,
I think it started when I was young, and what's interesting, and you can ask, you know, many people over, you know, many cultures, especially people that practice the craft, is I'm first seeing what everyone calls the man in the black hat. Like, and I'm sure listeners, oh my gosh, yes, I've seen the man in the black hat. Who or what he is, I have no idea.
okay,
I call him a watcher.
Stop. Hold up for 1 second. Okay, I've seen a man in a black hat, right? I've only seen him out of the corner of my eye, and I've seen him only at hospitals, entering in and out of a door. So that's interesting that you said that, because I've never even talked or told anybody about that. And it's just periodically that it happens. It's a tall figure. He's wearing like a fedora.
And he's wearing a black hat.
Yeah, and wearing that's interesting. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the man in the black hat, and he, I don't know, first started appearing in my life when I was 6, right before the premonition started. And then, probably my generation, we got all obsessed with the craft, and then watching Charmed, and then you just kind of want to like go out and get your first tarot deck. And I did. I got my first tarot deck. I had to keep it in secret because my mom didn't like any of that stuff. I remember when I was 13 that my dad bought me my first Ouija board.
Okay. Tony is missing out because he's he's always talks about the Ouija board on the show. I've never delved into the Ouija board, but go ahead.
There's a lot of people that won't touch it with the 10-foot pole, and I can understand that because you are opening a doorway. You are willfully deciding to communicate with the other side. And for the life of me, why they think it was a good idea to mass market them and put them in stores for kids, I will never know. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not a toy. But the craft, everything is a tool.
Okay, but here's the thing. Isn't there such thing as white witches and dark witches, or, you know, blood witches and different things? So could it have been that this person who came up with the Ouija board, which I can't think of his name right off the top, was trying to target people opening these doors everywhere, you know, so these particular entities are able to come through?
I honestly have no idea what his intent was. As far as light witch and dark witch, it's all about your intent. I mean, as a practice, I am aligned with a left-handed path, that people have a lot of misconceptions of what that does and is.
Yeah.
Dark witchcraft is, you know, yes, we lean toward more, you know, cursing and hexing people only when it's absolutely warranted. We don't do anything willy-nilly. Everybody, you're a duality. Everybody has lightness. Everybody has darkness. You know, you can't see the stars without it being dark, and there's light. So you need something. You can't see the, you know, stars in broad daylight. It doesn't mean that I'm evil. It just means I follow a different path.
Well, I have to ask the question. So you have cursed people?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I take it that you probably felt they deserved it.
These are only people that are right. And, you know, witchcraft, there's a psychology to it, is, you know, if you do everything in your power to remedy the situation, you know, have you done your homework before you do this? Like, have you blocked them on social media? You know, have you stopped all communication with this person? And then sometimes you have to give the universe a little nudge. especially if you feel like the wheels of justice are taking too long. The people that I have cursed, these were not good people in any shape, form, or fashion.
Okay.
One of them, the last thing he ever said to me is that I hope my cats die.
Oh,
And
wow.
I feel he spoke it into the universe. He spoke it into the universe.
Yeah.
And now my cat's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not, he had cause and effect over that, I don't know. But I strongly believe, your words it's called spelling. It's called spells. You speak your words and you're putting that into the universe.
The universe, yes.
So I try very hard to, trying to be a good person. Do I bully people online? Of course not. I stand up against bullies.
Yeah.
I've actually, gotten in trouble by, the Facebook police for calling out bullies.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but okay, whatever. So I tend to just, I don't get engaged with bullies online. I really haven't run into bullies online. I've had several TikTok videos tell, just if people want to bully me,
Yeah.
then we're going to have a chat, like who hurt you that you think it's acceptable to bully a stranger online. Like I'll break out that psychology degree and we'll talk about why you're going to be a bully.
Exactly.
So people left me alone.
I see
who
why
hurt you?
they need to read your bio because they shouldn't be messing with you. But so the guy who cursed your cat, did you hex him or put a spell on him?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Is
and
he
last
is he
time
still
I heard
around?
He's still around.
Okay, I'm just checking.
He lost his house and he lost his animals, and life is kind of sucky for him right now. And I feel that justified. I mean, don't mess with my cats.
Yeah, exactly.
I might find my inner John Wick over my cats.
Ooh, nice. John, that's kind of like a John Wick with Constantine rolled into one. But
yes.
But yeah, for sure. So in I know you were saying that you helped the police in different incidents. Can you tell a story of another incident that occurred that you were able to help out the police department?
After that, I work with the one up in Thurston County. Not really. It's really kind of like, it's difficult to find law enforcement that are willing to, use a psychic. I know they have. It's just,
for sure.
I think with the whole Sylvia Brown incident before she died, I think that left a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
Yeah.
Over psychic abilities.
Sylvia Brown
her
fan.
saying that child died and the child in fact wasn't deceased.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of phonies out there that just give her for real people a bad name.
But do you think, as far as a psychic, really quick, that they have to, they're going to get 100% of everything correct?
Yeah, it's not it's not 100%.
Yeah.
When I have people will ask me about their, I want to connect with my grandmother. And I said, one instance was, I'm being shown roses. Oh, well, I'm like, does that resonate with you? What does that mean for you? As far as, we do get confirmation. I had this woman wanted to speak to her deceased fiance, and he didn't really have anything nice to say. So I couldn't do the reading. Unfortunately, I can refer you to somebody else.
Yeah.
And it sucks when we do try to get up. I want to talk to my dead so-and-so, and they don't really have anything left to say to you. So I don't want to be hurtful. I've had one, they didn't even bother to try to talk to me when I was alive.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly wanting to reach out now that I'm dead.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's very
and
interesting.
It's awkward. There was this one that sticks out in my mind, and it's been years, almost 10 years. I have a friend, her and I have been friends online for almost 10 years. And I think this is probably, I don't know, I want to say 3 years into our friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a mutual friend. And I messaged her and I recite a poem that just came to me out of the blue. And she's like, how did you know that's the exact poem that I left on my daughter's graveside?
Oh, wow.
And it was the poem word for word, like word for word. And then she asked, well, how come my brother isn't contacting our mother? I'm like, well, would you? And apparently it was a tumultuous relationship between mother and son. They never got along. And she's like, oh my God, you're right. He hated our mom. So the next day I noticed that this mutual friend had blocked me from Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked my friend, I'm like, what happened? Why did she block me? And she's like, you scared the living daylights out of her. And it stuck with me. Like, yeah, I scared her that much. I mean, when I recite a poem that she left for her daughter and a poem on her graveside that she lives in Australia. So there is no way on earth that I could have ever seen this poem.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it scared her. And especially when, I talk about the relationship between her brother and her mother that no one would know about except for them.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really realize that. And I know out of all the stories that I've heard, that, you could have a ghost who's ornery, or a ghost who's kind, or a ghost who just doesn't like to talk but pushes things or move things, out of the way. But a lot of people who have family members who pass, to the other side, they say, well, why doesn't that person visit? Well, what was your relationship like before the person passed away?
Like the movie Ghost. And I like to use that as an example of him trying so hard to move a penny or trying to move something tangible in our physical world. It takes a lot of energy for a ghost, to master they have to, when they die, they have to figure out, well, what now? I mean, just getting used to the idea that they have no physical body anymore. And then to take all this energy to be corporeal, which means solid enough to move something in our realm, it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I mean, but they do, I don't know, people are like, well, how come I'm not being visited? Well, did you just think about a funny story between the two of you? Did you hear a song on the radio that you two used to listen to? It's little things. It's a little thing. Sometimes, like my dad died 2020, right before the pandemic, and mine and his things was marbles.
Yeah.
And I would find random marbles in the weirdest places, and I have them collected. So I like to think, whenever I'm thinking about my dad and I find a marble in a weird place, and they're expensive marbles. I found this cat eye that I know is rare. I like to think it's signs from my dad that for me not to lose my marbles. And he was always telling me that. So it's the little things. It doesn't have to be I don't know, you look in your living room and your deceased aunt is standing there.
Yeah.
People need to pay attention to the little things, and it's usually the little things. You'll hear someone with their name, or you'll watch a show and it's like, hey, we used to watch that show together. It's just the little things that your person is thinking about you and then trying to connect just to give you some comfort.
Yeah, that's it. That's interesting. I know when I go, I do not want to hover around anyone. I want to go see what's happening. But we're going to get back. I want to ask you when we come back from this break about demons. So we will be back.
Right.
All right.
You're listening to Bobby Washington of Strange Darkness Radio.
So, in having all these experiences and doing all these healing practices, from Reiki to crystal healing, having a psychology degree, have you ever encountered something evil or demons in general?
Evil, I would say yes. It was, well, one, the house next door to my apartment building gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Mm.
There's just something about that house that I do not like at all. I had an app on my phone that acted like almost like a REM pod, and those are little instruments we use to, if something gets near it, it'll light up. This one was loud. Like, I didn't realize how loud it was till I sat it down, like, by my, away from my couch, and it went off. Like, something had gotten near it. And then I would say the energy around my ex-husband's house. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I did not like that energy whatsoever.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was being watched. What I was doing, what was called, it was basically sealing a house, is where I will basically do a protection incantation to just put a barrier between us and the spiritual worlds. And when we cast circles and draw our pentagrams in the air in the spiritual world, it will show up as a blue light. This blue light is a boundary that you are, if you are a malevolent spirit, that you are not allowed to cross. So what I was doing was trying, and they had a lot of windows. In this house had an insane amount of windows. It drove me nuts. But when I was doing that, I felt an energy on that property that did not like me doing that. And then there was like this fenced off area that had a bunch of trees. So when the people that bought the property came and finally chopped down all those trees, the energy there was wild. I couldn't wait to move. When my stepson and I went down the road, it wasn't that far. It was just like people would put their RVs there and summer there or whatever. He and I went down there, and we were just like, I think I have it on my laptop somewhere, by the shed garage that had their boat inside of it. On the back side of it, I caught a full body apparition of like this man in a top hat and a jacket, and you could see his like cherubby cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, we were standing in a circle, and he's like, something just touched me, and I'm like, we need to go. Like, I don't like it here. And there wasn't anything there.
Yeah.
And then we started hearing whistling. I'm like, okay, now it's time for us to go. We go back to the house, and we're sitting on the couch. And it's like a covered porch area, and there's boards that you walk on. They make noise when you walk on them.
Mm-hmm.
Something was heavy enough to make a sound on the boards. And then there was a light right by the washer and dryer, because our washer and dryer was out there.
Yeah.
It was tall enough to cast a shadow on the wall, like the ceiling, and then kept going. And he's like, you look out there. I'm not looking out there. Something is big enough to make sound. And my ex thought, well, it must have been a dog. There's no dog. A dog, like, there wasn't a dog that followed us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was like probably the scariest thing I've ever caught out there. As far as demons, there's a lot of misconception.
Okay.
I mean, they're basically a different deity that's a different flavor. I mean, you have, say, Prince Stolas, who appears as an owl or a crow. He teaches you astrology.
Oh, okay.
And poisonous herbs. So I actually have, it's called a Goetta tarot deck. So my tarot deck is the demon tarot deck. And it works just like a regular tarot deck. I mean, there's such thing as, they're called Shax demons. those aren't the ones you want to summon unless you know what you're doing. And those are the ones that are, malevolent and can actually hurt somebody if you're not careful. And I kind of believe, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the Annabelle doll.
Yes.
And all that. I'm fairly certain a Shax demon resides in her, or a demon that's, I don't know. I just know most of the demons that I work with, they're not all about that. They don't, well, there's people that get possessed. Yeah, there's people that have severe mental illness that need to get medical treatment.
Okay, let's stop for 1 second. Because again, people are be like, wait, what did she just say? So you actually work with demons?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so how did that come about? Is this doing your practices with those particular tarot cards that open this particular pathway, or how did this come about?
This came about as more curiosity for a book that I was writing, and then it just sort of like, yeah, this aligns. I practice Luciferian witchcraft, and Lucifer, one, not the devil.
Okay.
He is he's the light bringer. He is basically Switzerland until he doesn't want to be Switzerland anymore.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
He's neutral. He's neutral. I mean, he teaches. He's about science and practicality and being a teacher. Satan, one, that means adversary, and there's a lot of people that will say it's the same, and it's not. And it's not Satan isn't like an actual deity. It's a job title that is filled by different deities.
Got it.
They have actually, and I have a friend that practices Satanism, and I joined a group a long time ago. I think a very extremely boring group of people. They have rules and tenets that, the hurting of animals and children and people, that doesn't jive with them.
So they're not doing orgies or anything like that, or?
I mean, if they're sex orgies, sure. I mean, witchcraft is all about love, sex, and awesome drugs. But it's with consenting adults.
Yes.
They're going to be doing that. And then you have like people, especially now in the media, that, the stars are all demonic, or Illuminati is all demonic. And you can probably ask someone that belongs to the Church of Satan that no, we don't claim that.
Yeah.
That's not what we're all about, especially hurting children. I've actually, it took a long time for me to actually get the cats that I have, because people have done a deep dive on my Facebook page. Oh, well, you're into witchcraft, I'm not going to give you a cat.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, wow.
But I like.
Is there something with cats
and
witchcraft that you guys do with cats?
So some cats can be a familiar, and there's connotations of familiar that it's a, Satan in disguise, and that's not true. Or we just have house cats. Mine are just house cats. But, well, thinking that, we're sacrificing animals. Is there animal sacrifice in some of the crafts? Sure, but that's not really practiced anymore. And if it is, it's done with the most utmost and deep respect for the animal's life. It isn't willy-nilly. We're just out killing animals just for the fun of it.
Are you now? You're not with this particular group anymore, correct?
No, I'm not. I joined that group on Facebook out of curiosity because of a book I was writing. Because I don't like taking things for face value. I want to research it for myself, and I'm very adamant about research. That's, I think I've always wanted to learn everything I could about everything, especially if I see things online that don't jive, like, I don't think that's right. I'm going to actually research it. And that's probably the cause from being a psychology major.
Yeah.
Is you have to research everything before you write it down and dare to have it published. So I'm all about research.
You can listen to Strange Darkness Radio on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Also on our hosting site, Podbean, or any podcast hosting site.
Welcome back to Strange Darkness Radio with your host, Bobby Washington.
So out of all these particular things that you're into, how did you escape the whole Christianity and biblical side of God to come to this particular, side of witchcraft, being a Luciferian, all that particular?
When I was a child, we went to church and I didn't understand any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember particularly I was, I think, 6 years old, and I was left alone in the Sunday school room. We did a project and everybody left and left me stranded, and it terrified me. I was always the kid that was getting in trouble in Bible school. Like, my brother's heavily Christian. So we would go to church and Sunday school, and I was always getting in trouble because I'm like, that doesn't make any sense at all. And they got tired of me questioning. And I'm just like, well, that's not very awesome if you can't even question, any of this.
Yeah.
And then I had something happen to me in 2011 that,
that changed your whole belief system and all that.
Yeah, I had a mental health breakdown, and unfortunately, my state doesn't take to children. I can talk openly about it now. I mean, sure, people are going to judge me. I really don't care if people judge me because they haven't lived my life. So I had a mental health breakdown, and I was separating from my daughter's father, and he didn't take too kindly to that. So Children's Services got involved, and unfortunately, none of them have a degree in psychology or social work or even child development.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like anybody that has a mental illness.
Yeah.
So I decided that, I didn't want my children going down the rabbit hole of my mess. They went into care, but people were like, well, you need to pray to God. And I did, probably about for 2 weeks. And I don't know, joke's on me that like a week later that I have Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on my door. I mean, that's not cool. I mean, you send me them of all people. And it was all right. I mean, because I was upset and lonely and devastated that, it was nice to have another human around to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, this isn't what I need. I don't understand this. Like, people are like, well, God doesn't give you any more that you can handle. Seriously? I mean, this isn't okay at this point.
Yeah.
And I was questioning it too much. And then I moved and I found a group that were pagans, and they were kind of cool until they weren't. They were very cult. It's called Bonewit's Cult Dangers Checklist that you can Google online, that if you're hanging out with this crowd of people, you can actually go through a checklist to make sure that they're not a cult that you're hanging out with.
Oh, wow.
So they were very cult-like behavior for being pagans, and that wasn't okay with me. So I just started to do my own thing. And as soon as they found out that my path was different than theirs, because they're all love and light, which is, I mean, Wiccans are cool, that aren't, the love and light brigade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just positivity out the ass, and it's annoying.
Okay.
Let's love and light your offender. Let's love and light your abuser. No, they need to go to jail.
Exactly.
Love and light and wishing them happiness and rainbow and sunshine. So yeah, when they found out that I wasn't on love and light, they actually, they got really nasty.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm just like, that's not very nice to do that to someone when you don't agree with. Well, I said I wanted to talk to them about something that I'm writing a book, and one of them just went off on me, like calling me delusional, and wow, I thought we were friends. Awesome.
Wow.
Only to find out, I had brought my daughters with me because we had what's called open circles, and we were doing like this. So basically, we do our casting of the circle, and it's about friendship and, singing songs and all about positivity intent. I had my kids with me. And then my daughter, when she was little, she was up on this, climbing on this chair. And she likes to climb on everything. Well, she looked like she was about to fall, and they really well, you're a terrible parent. Your daughter almost fell and blah, blah, blah. That's what she did. I mean, she climbs on everything. She's going to fall. She's not hurt, and she's going to pick herself back up again.
Yeah.
I know her enough to know that she was okay. But to say one thing to my face and then to turn around and stab me in the back, and then, so you just have to find your own way. And right now I'm part of this fantastic group on Facebook that jives with my beliefs. We're not gatekeepy. And they celebrate you discovering your path.
What's the name of this particular group?
So they're called the Grey Witches Haven.
Okay.
And, they're a fantastic bunch of people. I'm an approved reader in their group, and you have to be tested. It's not like, oh, I do readings. No, you have to two people, and you have to do your reading, and then people have to vote on whether or not that was, it resonated. So in that group, I'm approved to do runes, dream interpretations, and wax interpretations, which is the leftover candle wax. And then you do a reading of what you feel that the picture is telling you.
Wow.
And with dream reads, I pull psychology into it. We dig into the psychology when you want a dream interpretation.
I mean, you wear so many hats. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm adding more. I'm registered on, it's called Udemy, and there's a bunch of classes that you can take. By the time I'm done, I think I'll have 14 different certifications and stuff.
The book, you mentioned that you wrote a particular book. What is that book called?
Oh, the book that I'm working on?
Oh, you're not finished with it. Oh, okay.
It's a work in progress.
Okay, got it.
So it's a trilogy. So it's not really dystopian. It's really out there. It's there was a nuclear fallout, the world rebuilt itself, and it's kind of it's not Hunger Games, but it's kind of they had technology, the main city had technology. They still have technology, and it's a bunch of witches that are saving humanity from shape-shifting aliens.
Now,
it's really out there.
Is this all fiction, or is any of this?
Yeah, it's all fiction.
Oh, okay, all fiction. Okay, got it. Okay. Well, also, you said you've had, alien interaction as far as possible UFO abduction.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? And also the timeline, because, I know when it comes to UFO abductions, it's usually you're being followed by them for long periods of time, decades as being younger or older. So can you tell me a little bit about it?
It was 1998. No, 1999. I was a senior in high school. And I lived in Dallas, Oregon, and they'll say Dallas, Oregon is rumored to be a UFO hotspot. Before that, I would see something, darting around in the sky. And then I would hear this sound that even if I hear it today, I know that I'm being visited. You cannot mistake the sound. So it sounds like, if you know what a reefer truck sounds like, the trucks with the refrigerators when they're idling, it sounds like a combination of that, a little bit that it's revving, and it sounds like the wash cycle on a washing machine. So it's a very distinct sound that I don't know, my stomach kind of turns and I kind of get anxious every time I hear it. Out of the blue, when there's no possible way that I can hear it. We live down a road. There is not going to be any trucks going down that road at all. Trucks are not allowed down that road, and there's nowhere for them to go. I started hearing that for about a week before the incident. And I was looking outside, what is that sound? I mean, there's nowhere for it to go. I remember that it was the time that our neighbors hired a bunch of people to bale up their fields because it was for straw. And so there was probably about 4 combines, and combines are big and menacing by themselves. So I had gotten used to it. So I never paid attention, and they were menacing, whatever. It was nighttime. So the combines were parked along the side, and I saw like this bright light in the fields. There's no way to put a light in that field unless they fed a line to my neighbor's house and put a big, floodlight out in the field. But it was just there in the middle. And there's a house way, like almost like a football field length away. And because of the curvature of the earth, you're not going to see it in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Even on like the clearest of nights. And that caught my attention. And then what caught my attention more was I saw what I thought were people standing in the middle of this field, like off to the side and not that far away from me. I'm like, well, that's weird. I thought it was the workers, but it's nighttime. What the hell are they doing like, okay, you're weird. And I'm like, do I run inside? I mean, what do I do? Because I don't know. I mean, are they going to try to kidnap me? I don't know. So I go and feed my pigs, whatnot. And I'm like, I'm nosy. Like, stupid white lady, I'm going to be nosy. I walked over there with my flashlight. Yeah, I mean, there's this, like, offshoot. There's this guy on Facebook that he's hilarious. And he has a clothing line that white women ain't scared of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're stupid. We're nosy and we're stupid. So I was a stupid teenager, and people are probably like, why did you go near it? Because I'm stupid. I'm curious. I'm nosy. I'm a nosy white chick. What do you want from me? It was just off.
She doesn't mean that for all people of European descent. People just because just giving a disclaimer.
Suburban white girls are nosy. I'm the girl in the horror movie that's going to go find where the noise is coming from. That's just.
So on these figures, were they real quick on the figures? Were they humanoid or
no,
were
they weren't. I shone my light onto them, and they had long fingers, and yeah, they were clearly aliens. And they stopped and looked at me, and their skin was like, I want to say they were wearing jumpsuits because it was like you could see their skin. It was like this grayish green.
Okay.
Really long fingers, really, really tall. And I light up, and I see their heads and their eyes, and I'm just like, oh, you're not people. I remember like turning around and like kind of running back to my house. And I probably want to say I was about 20 feet away from the gate. I remember opening it, and I remember closing it. I don't remember anything else. I wake up and I lose 12 hours of time.
Wow.
And I don't remember anything. And then after that, I started going outside when it was still kind of daylight to feed my pigs. I would not go out there in the dark anymore. I did not like going out in the dark into the garage, into the barn. I mean, I did one more time, and right after that, I had my back turned, and I'm feeding my pigs, and I'm talking to the cows, and the cows and the pigs just started going bonkers, mooing for no reason. And my pigs were going crazy, running around and squealing. And I'm just like, what is the matter with you guys? There's nothing out here. I go inside where the cows are, and I'm trying to check if, there's a critter in there that's disturbing them, if there's a cat. I walk out into the field with my light, and I can see in the field, and there's a bunch of eyes, and it's probably coyotes. I mean, that's normal to see either deer or coyotes. It's not a big thing for me to be worried about that. Well, I walk back, I shut the gate, and I still have my back to the doorway. It doesn't have a door on it. It's just open. And I'm standing there, and next thing I know, the light clicks off, and there's a hand that goes over my mouth. And I'm just like, and my pigs and cows are going apeshit. And there's nothing that I can do. I'm like frozen in terror. And then it felt like forever. And then the light goes back on, and you have to click that light on. That light did not go off by itself. So I don't know if it was a person or what, but the skin did not feel like a person. And so I'm just like, yeah, I'm done with coming out here at nighttime. Like, this is not happening again.
In that particular incident, did you have any time loss or anything like that?
I think it was about an hour, because I come inside and my mom's like, where were you? I'm like, I was outside. And she was like, that was an hour ago.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, you know what? I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I still kept hearing that noise in that sound, and I kept seeing the whatever darting back and forth in the sky. And then flash forward to 2000. It was my, like, right before my 19th birthday. And I'm laying in bed with my boyfriend, and I start hearing that sound. And I've told him the story of what that sound means. He's like, I hear it too. So I wasn't crazy that I was, starting to hear a sound. And then it was my birthday, and he bought me a balloon. And I said, can you please take that balloon and put it in the hallway, because it reminds me of, them. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, okay. We go to bed, and I felt something brush my head, and I kind of look up, and I thought it was a balloon. And I roll over and go to sleep. I woke up, and I said, I thought I told you to take the balloon out of here. And he's like, I did. So something was in my room, standing above my head, watching me sleep.
Wow.
And that was just like, and that didn't happen again for a long time. I didn't really have any incidents until I moved to Charleston, and that was like 2012, 2013. It was a little bit later when my then husband and I moved to Reedsport in like 2015. And we're watching the show Dark Skies on Hulu. And there was a scene that she's walking up the stairs and down the hallway, and there's an alien behind her. And he looks at me, and I'm white as a ghost. And he's like, what's going on? I said, I literally just remember what happened to me when I was abducted.
Oh.
And he's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But to this day, I can't watch that movie. It's too much for me. I get the heebie-jeebies every time I watch it. Mm-hmm. He's like, what happened? And I said, I remember I woke up, and I was in this room, and there were like, I don't know, 4 or 5 aliens standing around me. And it felt weird. It almost felt medical. And I sat up, because I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of them that was standing next to me put their hand on my shoulder and kind of gave it a squeeze, like, you're going to be okay. And I'm just like, what happened? Apparently, and I remember that I had a bump on my head. I'm like, where did this come from? Apparently, I was so freaked out of the time that I saw them as a teenager. We had little pavers, like, for steps. Mm-hmm. They weren't exactly in the ground. They were kind of standing up. I had fallen, and I had tripped, and I had hit my head.
Oh.
And at that time, my mom, I should have been taken from my mom like years ago, many times. She was not the best. She wouldn't have noticed that I was gone until the next morning. Like, she would have been I would have like died of exposure, or I don't know, or being eaten. I don't know what would happen to me, but she was too absorbed in her own little world that she wouldn't have noticed that I was gone at all, that I ever came back in this house. We couldn't leave you outside. Like, we felt bad that we scared you half to death. So it was pretty much like them patching me up.
Oh, that's what it was.
Making sure that I was okay.
Okay, it wasn't like they were
making sure that I was okay,
doing anything to you, or, all the things you hear when it comes to alien abductions and all that. So,
I think when I hear those stories, I almost believe that's an implanted memory. Like, they don't want you to remember, so they're going to make the experience to you as horrible as possible. Do people have stuff happen to them? It probably depends on which one, they encountered. Just like people, there's bad seeds. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got up, and then one of them that was kind of like, I don't know, attentive to me, um, you know, I guess I was on their ship and opened up like the bay doors to the window. And if I could have had a cell phone back then to take a picture, I wish I did.
Yeah. And so you
And then I
still have
was in
that
my
memory,
room.
though? You have that memory of
Yeah,
seeing that? Okay.
yeah. I mean, it was unreal. I mean, and then the stuff that I know, because it usually happens when I hear a high pitch in my ears, that I start getting a whole bunch of visions. You know, the names of their ships. And I watch a show called Skinwalker Ranch
Yes, I watched that show also.
that I'm just like, it is my dream and my goal to be able to be invited out there because I can tell them the secrets of the ranch. I was shown it. I mean, when you're a nobody in the UFO and paranormal community, you know, being shown a lot of things. So I have like, I guess, this continual psychic connection with the ones that took me because they've taken me more than I get. I call it being borrowed because, I mean, I remember a time that I was woken up because I felt I was being pulled out of my bed. Like my boyfriend at the time, he woke up because I was almost completely off. I was off the bed and him grabbing me and yeah, he woke me up and I remember falling back into the bed and it was not pleasant. Falling that like, I don't know, I want to say I was a good 3 feet off the bed.
Wow. So
Yeah.
this connection that you have with them, do you know the race of these particular aliens? Because I know a lot of people believe there's all kind of different races that are
The
on this
ones
planet.
I particularly deal with are the what they're called the Greys.
Oh, okay. The Greys.
Is the ones that are connected with me. I kind of believe. So it was 2016 when I have to have my thyroid removed because it was riddled with tumors and cancer. I mean, your thyroid is your organ that absorbs all of your all radiation exposure. So, I mean,
So you think being
I
aboard
recommend
that
people wear
ship?
neck guards.
Yeah. Do you think being
I
aboard that
recommend people
UFO?
yeah, I think it was my continual contact with them
Okay.
because doctors couldn't explain why at um what, not even 35 years old, that I have I had 3 kinds of cancers in my thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
That they're just like, yeah, they couldn't explain that at all.
Wow. Well, let's go ahead and take a break and we'll be back in a minute with Silverayne.
You can listen to Strange Darkness Radio on iTunes or Spotify or any of your podcast hosting sites.
And so, yeah, you were telling us about your medical condition there. So you're all better and cancer free and all that good stuff, right?
It's being managed with medication.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it's not, thyroid cancer is not pleasant.
Yeah.
It's funny how the doctors will call that the good cancer.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Because it's localized to the thyroid, but it's not the good cancer. It's not how much you actually depend on your thyroid. Mm-hmm. Like I have no bodily temperature control anymore.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So kind of like hot and cold going on a lot.
Yeah. Or I don't know that I'm cold until, hey, my arms hurt because I'm cold.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So it's always hot and cold at inconvenient times.
Yeah. If your temperature drops, too much and, too far, and you're not even aware of it until it's too late. So, yeah.
Yeah. I have to be careful in taking hot showers because aside from having fibromyalgia, lupus, just being able to really discern hot and cold, I have to have, my partner, like, that's really hot.
Mm-hmm.
Or you need to stop working because it's really hot in here and you need to, like, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You're red in the face. You need to go sit down. Oh,
exactly.
Not even noticing that I'm having external signs that you are overheated.
Yeah.
So it sucks. I like going outside, but if it's hot outside, I really can't go outside.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So have you had any other incidents with UFOs? Hopefully not.
The house in Charleston, when I lived there, I have a picture. It's a really bad picture, but you can see the silhouette of, I guess, an alien that I caught in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
Then I remember before I left that house, I took a picture of a UFO and sent it to like the MUFON website because it was really weird. That was not a helicopter. It kept like bobbing in between the trees. And I hate cell phones because they're crappy videos.
Yeah.
I remember there was like a shed with a car on one side and wood on the other. I swear I saw something in there. I'm like, you better leave or I'm calling the police or some stupid whatever. And I've shown the flashlight on it. It was my cat on top of the car. No way. I know I saw something standing in there.
Yeah.
That was absurd. Or I'm downstairs by myself and I'm in the bedroom and I hear the sliding glass door open and my name being called. And what freaked me out is I have a name that I was adopted, and as soon as I found out that I had a birth name,
Mm-hmm.
I started going by that.
Oh, I see.
So for whatever to call me by a name that I no longer use freaked me out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I go and I shut the door and I lock the door, and I'm like, that's not even cool. Or I've been woken up by something like pulling the blankets off the bed, and I wake up. And it wasn't a really tall alien. It was kind of short.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it and I'm like, hey, it stops and turns around and looks at me and then bolts. So, and then what really got me is the one time where our room was like a basement apartment. There is no physical way to shine any light from outside in our room. Like, you'd have to be standing in a really obscure place. I was woken up because not only was our entire room lit up, there was a bright orange light shining into the windows. And there's absolutely no way for that to be physically possible. And I woke up my husband. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, I don't know. It was really strange.
So throughout all these incidents and things that happened to you, have you ever correlated, whether it's the paranormal side of things that are happening, because they do say, some say, demonic spirits or apparitions can, play tricks on you as far as, whether they're, acting as aliens or coming to you in different, types of things, whether it's animals, whether it's humans, whether it's, anything like that. Do you think any of that could play into talking or dealing with demonic spirits or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. I think, aliens are aliens. And then when you see like paranormal shows and there's, malevolent spirits, that's most of the time is like residual energy from a very unhappy person.
Yeah.
I have been woken up and hearing, voices of particular demons, like, Baphomet's one, but Baphomet's like a teacher and kind and not, I've never had anything bad happen to me when I was, dealing with demons.
You're the first person I've ever heard of say any of that. Just for the record.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone else.
I'm not the group that I'm in on Facebook. There's a lot of us that one person does like 30-day dedications to different demons.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, no, I've never had anything, when people say, oh, that's a demon talking to you, not your dead relative. No, that's your dead relative. Like I said, there's different, demons are just different deities. They're spicy deities.
I like how you say that, spicy.
I like to call them spicy. They're spicy deities of, they all have their different specialities, just like regular deities do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then
I've never had anything bad happen to me. Yeah. I've had a lot of nasty spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Are really just grumpy people. I don't know, say you move into a house, it's like an old farmhouse, and you start doing stuff like redecorating. I mean, part of, my craft is we like to talk to our houses, get the feel of the energy, let the, if the previous owner is there in spirit, hey, I'm going to be redecorating your house. I hope you don't mind.
That's
consulting them.
People really should do that, though.
And if they're acting out, they're having a tantrum that you're doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I also, I'm going to get my paranormal, stuff off the ground next month. I want to go to houses for investigative purposes.
Yeah, really quick, because you were talking about, having, the different meters and stuff or whatever to be able to detect the presence of a ghost and all that. So I was going to ask you, do you actually go out and do that?
I did it once at a cemetery with 2 people, and we had a lot of activity. That was really interesting. Something was throwing or banging against the shed to get our attention. And I said, just because there's 3 of us, I don't particularly feel comfortable going and investigating that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were surrounded by rocks. They like to throw rocks at you.
You don't want to get pelted.
And it's, that was really sketchy. And if people want to go investigating, make sure there's nothing that they can throw at you.
Yeah.
I mean, we were surrounded by gravel. We were taking a risk by doing that and taking a risk of not having stuff thrown at us.
Okay. And so real quick, your whole thing is when you're encountering something that is doing that, whether they're throwing something, whether they're moving something, trying to scare you away, you're equating that to a person, to a person opposed to a demon or something evil. It's just a person. Okay. That's interesting.
There's a lot of people that can be evil.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
I mean, there's poltergeists, and poltergeists, they are residual energy that is manifested into something from either people that have bad negative energy all the time. Mm-hmm. And another thing with poltergeists is menstruating women and women that are going through menopause manifest poltergeists more.
Oh, okay.
Because their energies are all over the place. Mm-hmm. The apartment that I lived in Newport, Oregon in 2011, I left because something attacked me.
Oh, wow.
There was a poltergeist and an energy in that house. I had a dry erase board attached to my wall with 3M stickers, and 3M stickers are very, very strong. Mm-hmm. Person that I was dating was staying over, and we heard this loud bang, and I go into the living room because we're just us, and that dry erase board was thrown across the room, and there was nothing there that could have thrown anything across the room. My last straw was I had something. I'm by myself. I feel the bed move. You know how when people get on the bed and it moves? The bed moved. Something grabbed me by my ankles and shoved my knees practically all the way to my chest, sat on my chest, and tried breaking my neck. And so when people talk about sleep paralysis, I was wide awake. There was no sleep paralysis about that. That's when I was introduced to kind of like a guardian spirit that appeared for the very first time and protected me. And basically, I heard, you need to get out of this house. And so shortly after that, I moved. I left that house. I left that energy there. And nothing like that has ever happened to me again.
Are you now, since all these particular abilities that you have, are you now able to clear a situation like that as far as alleviating
Yeah.
the entity?
Yeah, I do. And that's what I want to do for people is I want to go to their home and identify whether or not it is paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, houses make noises.
Yeah.
To identify if it is an issue, to help you either make peace with, if you two can cohabitate peacefully. If not, I can help not only remove the issue, I can banish the issue, I can cleanse your home, and I can also prevent reinfestation. I can seal your home and put wards up that will prevent whatever was going on in your house of coming back. So over time, I've learned to be able to do that and banish things very, very quickly and put wards up and cleanse my home. And it's funny because I bought some night lights because my house is really dark. They're blue lights, and it's kind of a twofer for protection because nothing malevolent can cross a blue light.
Did not know that. That's good info. So you guys hear that out there? Blue light. Now, what kind of, does it matter what type of blue light?
No, it's just this is kind of like, they're blue LEDs that you can find on Amazon.
Got it.
And they're reactive to light. So if your lights are on, it won't come on.
Okay.
So they have to have, and the one I have in my bedroom, every once in a while, even with the light off, even with the light on, it'll start to flicker. There's no bad electric here at all.
Mm-hmm.
That will make it, like, I know something is walking back and forth around my bed because I have been tapped on the shoulder. I have been tapped on the back. When I got COVID myself, something was, I think it was either my guardian spirit, or something was rubbing my forehead to keep my forehead cool. And it was kind of comforting.
Yeah.
So nothing, I mean, or once I've been grabbed by the foot and my foot was shaken and I've been woken up. Like, I have boundaries. Like, and that's the thing that people, especially who do psychic work, you have to have boundaries with these spirits or they will bother you 24/7. Like, I'm sleeping. I don't want to be particularly bothered by your shenanigans right now.
So, is there a situation to where have you encountered to where you're actually out and you see these apparitions or seeing attachments to people, and then you go up and like, hey,
there's a thing called astral larvae, and they're particularly nasty creatures that attach to your aura. They're the ones that feed your bad behaviors and your addictions. So I've seen those on people, and it's just like, oh well. And then it makes sense, especially if you have an encounter with that person, they're snappy about something.
Yeah.
So there was a fact I read many years ago. It's like 35% of the people that you run into in your daily life, especially like, say, a big city like New York City, and you're walking, 35% of those people are actually dead, and they don't know it, and you don't realize.
Are you serious? I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds creepy and scary as hell, especially in New York because, a lot of those people, I mean, they're in the physical form, they're scary. So imagine if they're actually, sitting there dead and don't know it. That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah. There's, I've had people, contact me to contact a relative, and, it's like they're freaking out right now. Like, they just, the realization that you're actually dead. And sometimes it does take us telling them that you, in fact, are dead. I'm sorry. And it's a shock to the system, especially when it was not expected.
Wait, rewind that. So you're having a conversation with someone and they don't know they're dead, But now, are you
Yeah,
seeing? Are they in the physical form, or is it more of an apparition? Is it more of a ghostly type figure, or is it just like a?
I can hear them in my head.
Oh, I
It's
see.
like, or I'll start to smell like an obscure smell. Like,
Mhm.
okay, that's not a migraine coming on. Yeah, it's just, yeah. For me, I can hear them.
Wow.
I
That's
mean,
interesting.
9/11. I think the first time that it ever actually really happened to me is I was woken up and I could hear a bunch of screaming, like loud screaming, panic screaming. And then my dad wakes me up and he's like, "You need to get up right now." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Plane just crashed into a tower." And that's the screaming that I was woken up to.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, just a bunch of screaming and crying and, hearing people, "I don't want to die," and just, yeah, it
Yeah.
was intense. That, and who do you talk to? You can't, like, yeah, okay, sure, that's when you need to go to a doctor, especially if you're hearing voices like that. This is not schizophrenia. This was, yeah, it was not pleasant for me. I didn't even want to watch I didn't even want to watch the news, because why? So I can see it happen, while I'm hearing them.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And that's wild.
I
Have you
mean,
ever been in a situation to where they're like, you're obviously your parents are hearing you have all these issues, and they're saying, well, no, she needs to be medicated. She needs to, she's having
no,
us,
I was pretty good at keeping it to myself as a
okay.
child,
All right.
because I knew, you know, um, that I don't. They probably didn't know what, like, being a child in the '80s. You were institutionalized for that kind of stuff, and I was, even being a little child, I was aware, like absurdly aware of what happens to people if you start talking about you hear voices. And that's kind of like something a 6-year-old shouldn't ever, like, be aware of.
Yeah.
I guess that's what gets me about people, and, like, off subject about, I don't know, hearing that their 5-year-old is saying that they're a boy or a girl. I'm like, you're acutely aware of a lot of things when you're
Mm-hmm.
5 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, but being aware that you don't tell people that you hear voices or see things.
Mm-hmm.
I had an invisible friend that, you know, was an actual, I guess, was a spirit. And to me, they were, that's what, invisible friends aren't always invisible. It's like parents should start asking, their kids about, what does your invisible friend look like?
Yeah. That's
Just to make
true.
sure, and start looking at obituaries that, hey, my kid's actually talking to, the dead person that died yesterday or something crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, or, if there's anyone who passed away in the home.
So I made myself a witchy kit, and it's items I take with me when I'm on a paranormal excursion, if you will.
What
I
does that
take with me,
consist of?
so um, most witches will have what's called an othame. It's a spirit ceremonial knife
Okay.
that we use. So we use it to cast the circle, and we also use it to, because there's like an invisible boundary between our world and the spiritual world. We'll use it, what they call, to cut in back to the circle, or to cut yourself out. You just don't want to walk over your barrier.
Mm-hmm.
We use it, it's a ceremonial knife. So I'll take that with me. And I will take what I have is, I guess, earth-friendly blessing herbs that I made, especially if I know that it's a burial ground. It has some herbs in it, and it has a little bit of tobacco.
Yeah.
Basically to acknowledge the Native American spirits that were there, that you're being acknowledged. I'll take salt water with me to cleanse my shoes, because I don't want to track anything home with me. And yeah, so it's just, and it's offering herbs that I bring with me is an offering. So one, that the spirits are and have been acknowledged, and we're here to investigate. We're not here to be rude or intrude. Just an acknowledgement. And the time we had at the cemetery, it was okay. I mean, nothing happened to us. a lot of weird stuff happened to us, but nothing like malicious.
And you didn't bring any unwanted spirits home, did you?
No.
Okay.
I made sure as soon as we left, I salt watered my shoes just to like cut the ties between me and the so nothing could follow. So I always do protection spells on myself before I'm, whenever I go anywhere. But this house, unfortunately, the apartment building that I live in, rumor has it, it was built on top of a burial ground.
Have you had any of those entities or spirits present themselves by any chance?
I took a picture like across the street from my apartment building, and there was like this weird, you got weird vibes. I just get weird vibes by the woods that are right next to me.
Oh, okay.
Like always. After Thanksgiving, we had a turkey, and like the bits of turkey that were left over that we weren't not going to eat, I took all of those and I walked down to like the entrance of the woods that I felt something was there, and I left offerings.
Oh wow.
Of like to acknowledge whatever is here, and the animals can eat this meat. And I didn't leave any bones because I didn't want to hurt any of the animals.
Yeah.
But I always walk by, when I do walk by and it's broad daylight and I know something's in there, I'll just give an acknowledgement that you have been acknowledged and seen, and we should be cool with each other.
That's cool. That's awesome. So as far as the services that you offer, can you tell the audience about some of those? Because they might need those services.
Sure. So the services I currently offer is I am offering in one of my groups all the Reiki attunements, that by the time you're done, you'll be a Reiki Master as well, because you have to be a Reiki Master yourself in order to do that. I'm also offering the same environment. I am teaching people about crystal healing and what crystals are safe to use and how to use them. I'm also offering people how to use herbs safely. I always recommend you talking to your doctor before you take any herbs. I mean, these aren't any off-the-wall herbs in the first place. So yeah, I'm teaching that. I'm also teaching, and I have a group that's for subscription. It's like $20 a month, where you will get trauma recovery and healing. I'm certified in dialectical behavioral therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy. So we do a bunch of, I help you with your emotional triggers, and I help get you to the point that you can see the word that will trigger people, but you will not have any feelings behind that word anymore. It'll just become a word. And I'm not talking about, big trigger words that have like racial connotations to it. I'm talking about, helping people with their PTSD so it's manageable.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, if you hear the word, miscarriage, it doesn't have any weight behind it anymore. It doesn't set up any feelings anymore when I'm done. I mean, and helping, like, you can choose to scroll past that post.
Yeah.
Or if you see that word, you're not going to fall into a pile of mush and cry and get upset over and not react to it. Like if someone has a post, and I don't like trigger warnings. I like, this post is like a content warning is more suitable. Like, hey, this post is going to be talking about X. You may not want to read it. And being able to move on and not be upset.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. And this particular group I offer, yeah, you're going to feel a lot of feelings, and it's okay. We're going to get to the other side. And I also offer locally in my area, the Portland area, going to your house. And if you have, a haunting, I help you, deal with it or remove it so you don't have to deal with it again. So.
And how can they reach you?
They can find me on my Facebook page, and also Linktree /Silverayne.
Okay. Man, this has been a lot of knowledge and a really good show as far as just the detail of what you're capable and able to do and the things that you've been through to build, mastery of different arts, from Reiki to crystal healing to, psychology and, utilizing all that to fight all these unseen and, just people in general, whether they're living or dead, you're able to utilize these skills or whatever to help yourself and help people move through, life, which is really what it's all about at the end of the day.
I was excited for this opportunity of getting my name out there finally. And that was like a goal of mine.
Because a lot of people don't like to talk about, the negative or the bad things or the things that they've been through to, help them, become the person that they are and able to, fight through all that they grew up with to be able to say, now this is where I'm at and I can help you, with these particular, things that used to plague me and plague, a lot of people. And, putting labels on things as far as like, oh, into demons, oh, this is a negative thing, or into, witchcraft, this is a negative thing, opposed to having the experience and talking and interacting with people who've had different, passages through life, and, so you shouldn't be so quick to judge opposed to learning and knowing about the person to have these, who's had these experiences, because they're experiences that you may not ever have, but then you're able to take what you've learned and see what kind of person you are and be like, okay, maybe that's not a negative situation. Maybe I should look at this differently. And that's what I like about you and about what's going on out there, that people are touching all aspects of everything.
Well, I know for me, so there's a lot of people have probably heard, you hear a lot about what's called shadow work.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a deep dive into your psyche to start healing your trauma. And I know me probably, I want to say like 10 years ago, would have never have dreamt of doing this just because not in a good headspace or the belief of negative self-talk. And we do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of negative self-talk. And even though you're not saying it to yourself and you're having the audacity to bully somebody online, you're still saying it. And when you bully someone, that's a reflection of how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
So you need to work past that and do a deep dive. And it takes you realizing that, you know what? I am the common denominator in all the shit that happens in my life. How do I fix that? And I'm not saying that, oh, well, it's your fault, especially if someone's abused. I'm not saying that it was their fault. I am saying, what is it about you that seems to attract that type of person into your life?
Yeah, taking responsibility.
And you have to take a look of like, okay, well, I'm a negative person. I talk bad about other people. I don't feel that I'm worthy of anything. So you have to change that mentality. You are worthy. And I want your, listeners to hear that you are a worthy person. And when you recognize that, you can step out of your comfort zone in doing something like this, because if you don't, opportunities like this are going to pass you by and you're going to start to get jealous because, well, why doesn't anything like that happen to me? Because you're too busy focused on the negative.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
And I love psychology and be that therapist to people. Like, if you're too focused on the negative and too focused on what other people have, of course you're not going to get it because you're too busy being upset and negative about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Or when people think about like, well, how come I don't have the mansion, or how come I didn't have this life experience? Because it wasn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
It was for them. And now you need to go after what's for you.
That is so true.
I don't get jealous. Why? That wasn't for me to have.
Yeah. No, definitely.
What am I going to do with a mansion except, fill it with things you're going to be too busy filling rooms with things, and what? You're going to die, and then what? Your stuff is just going to go into the ether because you decided to fill your life with materialistic things instead of people that matter.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't get jealous. I don't get angry. I don't bully people online. I just, okay, cool. You want to bully me? We're going to chat about why. And I don't give them the space.
Mm-hmm.
I let people say what they're going to say, and then I move on with my life.
Yeah.
And that's all people want. People just want to be heard, even though it's mean and nasty. And there's some people that enjoy hurting others because they don't care that it's another person that you're talking to.
That's true. That's true. So people
like,
do
okay,
better.
Well, then
do
focus
better out
on
there.
your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Focus on your life and what's going on than hurting people online. I think it's silly.
Exactly. I'd say hit up Silverayne and get some work done on yourself, as far as whether you need crystal healing, whether you need a psychologist, whether you need, just someone to talk to. I think will be beneficial.
Yeah, let's do your shadow work and let's get on the road to recovery.
Exactly. Thank you for joining me on today's show. It's been great talking to you, and very knowledgeable and very informative, on all aspects of, from the paranormal to life in general, and to all the arts that you are a part of. Thank you again for being on Strange Darkness Radio.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. And this is Bobby. I'm out.
I am Buzz Aldrin, and I was the lunar module pilot on Apollo 11.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
The truth is that we've never proved one, but there are things flying around up there that we haven't fully identified yet. And keep in mind, there are basically 1 billion galaxies in an ever-expanding universe. I mean, you can't even get your mind around the sheer number of things that are out there.
People still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is. There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern. When it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you.